What I'm doing is taking off the outer surface where there might be contamination from the soil and where the individual's been buried, and make sure that the enamel outer surface is well abraded and any soil component removed. My name is Jane Evans. I've trained as a geologist. I've worked with the British Geological Survey for many years. Over the last 10 years, I have developed an interest in the archaeology, and now pretty much 100% of my time I'm supporting archaeological research. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find the composition of the enamel from this tooth, and then we can use that composition to work out where the individual whose tooth this is was born and brought up, and in particular where they spent their childhood. So what we want to do is first of all get a clean piece of enamel, because you've got to remember this tooth has been buried in the ground for over 1,000 years. Then take that into the laboratories, dissolve the enamel, extract, in this case, strontium and oxygen from the tooth, analyse that strontium and oxygen, and then we can use those results to compare with different compositions that we find across Britain and the world in order to work out where this person came from. This method is the only method we know of giving a direct result for whether the individual that we find is of British or UK origin or from elsewhere in the world. So what I'm going to do now is split the tooth in half, and then I can take half the tooth into the laboratory for further preparation. We have the equipment and the machinery which has well developed these techniques from geology, and it has become accessible to the archaeological community who have become interested in strontium isotopes that are conventionally of application to geology. I'm taken by surprise much more frequently than I would have expected. We've had some really interesting and exciting results. Okay, there we go. In Weymouth, there was a new road being put in, or an extension to a road being put in by Dorset County Council. And as the excavations went ahead, they came upon a pit of human bodies. 51 individuals who were young males, and they had all been decapitated. So there was a possibility that these may be either locals slaughtered by a Viking raid, or Scandinavians and Vikings caught by the locals. So myself and a colleague undertook to look at strontium and oxygen composition in the teeth from these individuals. When the oxygen results came in, which tell you the kind of climate that somebody was raised in, all the individuals in this pit that we analysed had oxygen isotope compositions that suggested they came from a much colder climate. And of course, immediately, when you put that together with the period and the interactions, Scandinavia, you think to yourself, these are Vikings. You know, it brings up a story of the locals actually retaliating on these Viking raids and catching 51 of them, and I'm afraid executing them in a rather unpleasant manner. I've always liked the science, and I think almost any scientific problem is fun. What I love about the archaeology is that so many other people are involved and engaged in it, that you can communicate the enthusiasm to school kids, the public. When you talk about the problems you're solving, people immediately understand what you're trying to do, and it just adds a dimension of spreading the sort of fun of science so much more, and I love that side of it.